whether or not they want to actually go in for the goal lane that we saw, like, are they going to, because they've already been banned out by Ruby, but it seems that Harith will be open for them to take, and as well as Lapu Lapu will be a steal here in the hands of Indonesia.
This is very interesting. Revealing the Harith here makes sense on paper, since Indonesia can afford to go for a more damage-oriented build in order to deal with the pick-off comp coming out of their opponents. However, Turkey can flex this Esme into the gold lane, and then that would give Harith a bit more of a difficult time. In fact, I expect them to do so and then pick up a different hero to match up against the Lapu Lapu.
One hero to see that they can actually counter it off, or is that going to be another case for Team Turkey? Somehow, I feel like they might actually go with that strategy. And oh no, they don't. They ended up actually picking off Granger instead. So Granger's gonna meet off with Harith. I mean, I like the idea that you had instead, but now it seems that they're just playing off with their own books of their own signature, or should I say comfort of their own self.
Yeah, looks like both teams are going back to basics here.
Yeah.
Very traditional lineup on both sides. Good scaling. Early game is probably slightly weaker on the Indonesia side, so that is a gap that Team Turkey might be able to take advantage of if they play it correctly. But even if they don't, their late game scaling is not too bad either. So as long as things go according to plan, we shouldn't see a very quick game here.
Yeah, I think Indonesia's gonna actually play it off a little bit slow this time. And this is where the fine line we talked about, how these two teams are very disciplined. There was a lot of back and forth done for the first round of the second series. So going off for the second round itself, looking to see like if it's going to be the same case. But here on out, that's done for the draft. Let's go in for our second round of this second series between Indonesia versus Turkey.
Indonesia currently one game up, one victory away from securing clean sweep and looking much more comfortable about their chances of moving straight on into the playoffs. Can Team Turkey once again show why they are a considerable dark horse in the MLBB ecosystem?
Okay, if they want to play it off a little bit slow right now, it can give a little bit of chance for Team Turkey, that the fact that they can actually play around for that scaling phase. But at the same time, somehow, Nora, they don't fight with the Kalea in the hands. She can actually just mess around just a little bit in the early runs.
I think what we are probably going to see in terms of early game pressure will most likely come out of Team Turkey here. Because once again, it's the Kalea Farsa combo along with a Lancelot means that their mid trio is actually pretty strong. They can gank side lanes, they can get pickups. It will be a bit difficult to do so in the goal lane because Shell does have that Purify, but they're still going to try and put some pressure there.
They definitely trying to make sure that they can have the opening wave. They can actually have a way for them to just break off the composition coming off from Team Indonesia itself. But so far right now, I do feel like Team Indonesia kind of can read the strategy that is done by Turkey as well. So they are playing it a little bit safe as well. The movement coming off from CD, but here, Nora again with a wave breaker every single time.
I really like Vivian's positioning there, putting herself in the bush because they know that if this Kalea Farsa moves around without being scouted, it spells disaster for any of their side lanes, even going to see the entire mid trio around the turtle.
I like the fact that they keep on opening the whole entire map itself, so they can just expose every location of Team Indonesia. But here and now, it's going to be the first turtle, and the fight is going to begin.
Comes in, they get the knockup. Vivian going to be forced to use the Revitalize. Gatot still very tanky. Here comes the backline dives, and they are going to be the first one to go down. Fumi Echo with the bravest fighter. First blood to Team Indonesia.
No.
And now we can see
Unohana.
Esmeralda just left alone, trying to survive as long as possible. Flicker forward. Cine finishes off Unohana, and they're still not done. Fumi Echo is still trying to disrupt the purple buff and slow down Kujo.
I mean, Unohana was just a little bit too long staying into that positioning to a point that it was easy for Indonesia to just steal her away. So question-wise for Team Turkey, they cannot be too much of the dedication to play around with Team Indonesia. But somehow, there's going to be a 2-kill, but at the same time, you're going to go in all out with Miko as well.
Miyako has to be very careful here. Harif is a hero that can full dive a Granger if you position wrongly. Oh, they found the Katal once again. Uno Han Vivian gonna be going down since it is a 4-man dive. That feathered airstrike damage.
Rider starts damage nicely done, opening off with a wave breaker as well. Now it seems that Kuto gonna be actually teased away. Will be denied immediately. Yup, Kuto get it.
Kuto still secures the turtle, but they lose Nora in exchange. I think that is a trade they're willing to take.
Yep, they definitely know for a fact that it is a sacrifice that is needed, but at least they'll be able to actually maintain the gap between each other with economy-wise as well. But again, it's not too far off for Team Indonesia as well as Turkey. Now, question is, how much more they can actually contain this positioning? Because again, yes, Indonesia is playing it slow, but as they scale off, it's not going to be good for Team Turkey.
Indonesia is going to have very strong late game scaling,
Yeah.
but Turkey is not too far behind as well, right? All of their DPS cores will still have pretty strong late game as well, especially Miyako on this Granger, as long as she doesn't lose too hard to the Harif in lane, and she does have the EXP advantage, so Turkey is still doing a good job of making space for their core.
Agree, because the fact is we are seeing that Team Turkey is just denying every movement coming off from Team Indonesia. They're allowing that shell, but at the same time, this is going to be a composition steal away!
Slam onto the guitar. Revitalize comes out. Feathered airstrike this time not going to be quite enough to finish off Vivian, so she will survive.
Oh, what a really good steal away, but then the follow-up was just not enough coming off from Team Turkey, and now Vivian was just going to be backing away, easily surviving that fight. And Uno Hana on the other again, kind of extending herself too much, too long, and now seeing...
Ooh, the flicker forward from Cine with the darkening. Again, this is why Lunox counters Esme. The damage is just so high.
The damage is just so high to a point that Uno Hana just caught off guard too many times to a point that the damage cannot be faltered. And now, moving on, they'll be able to clear out every single minion wave. They'll be able to control every single movement of Team Turkey. But here on Akujo with Fumieko.
It's a 1v1 down here. We can see Kujo starting to do a good amount of damage. I don't think... Oh, hold on. Cine comes in from the side. I don't think Kujo was expecting that one. The Landslot will go down. And the Brilliance even used to get Cine out. That's a perfect setup for Indonesia to start working on the turtle.
Great gang up, coming up for 2v1 right there. Turtle might be actually free it off, even with the zone coming up from Nora and Uno Hana.
Uno Hana tries jumping in, but Vival has the retribution, so it's going to be an easy turtle for Indonesia. And now Zendaya in trouble, but the Oki Shadow Kill misses. Vival missed times that. So Zendaya gets out. The rest of Turkey also going to be able to back off a little bit here. They need to clear one minion, and they will be able to do so. But the flicker forward, Tsunami Slime gets one catch. Revitalize comes out, so Nora goes down. Uno Hana can be traded as well. It's a double kill. It's a full dive. Zendaya goes down. Vival finds the kill. Backs it up as well. Indonesia instantly picks up 3 members of Turkey.
3 members taken down immediately by Indonesia. Great diving in composition coming in from them. Despite, however, Team Turkey tried to defend that mid turret. Alongside right here, we do see Team Indonesia getting more and more frisky to a point that Turkey could not defend themselves.
Gotta be a bit more careful there. It was an initially good defense. Fumieko now in some trouble, but jumps into the minion wave to regen with the sustained Landshaker Raging Slosh. Miyako has the flicker just to get away. Fumieko still surviving with the shields. Nora comes in from the side. So much effort just to take down this Lapu Lapu.
3 players come through, and even then, Shell able to take it out, and now one more. Zendaya will be able to be shut down by Cine as well, and they will move away without any casualty in their fans.
Cine is an absolute monster on this Lunox. 5-0 already. The goal lead slowly adding up as time goes on, and Turkey losing their grasp over the map despite having a strong ganking combo. The rotations from Indonesia so far are very clean.
Very clean indeed, to a point that Team Turkey still couldn't find any answer for them to actually back off or even try to neutralize the situation. Now more and more turrets has already been shut down. Now they're getting into the second layer of the turret. Team Turkey trying to find a way for them to just stick around. 4 players. Wavebreaker will be open up for them to see every movement, but then they come through with Unohana.
Unohana jumps in first. Turkey A gonna realize, okay, there's more people there than expected, so we're not gonna full commit onto this, especially with the turtle coming up and a wave pushing up top as well. Indonesia setting up the macro in their favor.
Yeah, the macro is quite clean. This Turkey, oh, Nora comes in with a wavebreaker.
It's very deep, Nora. Completely isolated. Beautiful play from Vival. Dodges the Kalea entirely. Gets a free turtle. Nora now in complete no man's land. But somehow still managing to buy time. The rest of Turkey A not able to back her up though. They're being zoned out in the mid lane. So after everything, the Kalea is actually out.
I mean, at least she did survive it out, even though she had to rotate the whole entire map just to actually move away from Team Indonesia. But kind of great zoning coming out from Team Indonesia, the fact that they were able to actually scatter around Team Turkey. And now, again, from time to time, the objective-wise still goes in the favor of Team Indonesia. They know for a fact now, with the gap, 5,000 economy-wise is in their hands. Itemization definitely built up for Team Indonesia compared to Team Turkey.
Team Turkey is gonna need to put in some work here to make up the difference. But again, they do have a late game scaling composition, which means if they're able to get a little bit more itemization in, they can still match up to Indonesia despite the goal difference. And we can see they're heavily hovering around Mieko. But they're, oh my goodness, Vival! Jumps right in! Gets the kill on the Granger in the middle of his entire team. And now Fumieko is looking for another flicker forward with the Raging Slash. Zendaya goes down. Nora now isolated once again. And Indonesia is going to make sure to chase her down this time.
Nope, Shell's going to deny the movement. Yep, goes in for the Tsunami Slam. But Nora, unfortunately, will be tagged off by the 2 players. And again, she will be shut down immediately. Even though she did survive it out, but it's going to be a Cine's kill. But then again, they go in for Kujo as well as Unohana.
They're not able to find any more kills after that, but the damage is already lacking thanks to the missing piece that is Zendaya. Mid-tier 2 will fall. Feather Desperate comes out once again, but here comes the Shadow Kill! Vival! With the mega kill again! Mieko just not allowed to survive.
Not allowed to even get into the baseline safely. That diving composition coming out from Vival with 402 KDA. No one can stop her at all. Previously, she was using Lancelot. Now with the Hayabusa, she's doing such a great composition, such a great movement, as well as clean sweep to a point that Team Turkey could not stop her.
These are the micro mechanics that have made Team Indonesia the best women's MLBB team in the world for so long. And even though Team Turkey has so far been doing a good job of trying to match up in terms of discipline, the gap in experience is starting to show itself.
Turkey, again, yes, the gap-wise is getting more bigger, not just for the economy-wise, the kill-wise. Indonesia dominating 13 kills to 2 kills from Turkey. This shows how much this is a big different compared to the first round itself. And with the Lord coming in right now, this is going to be the second one for the hands of Team Indonesia. They push on a lot of the minions from the bottom lane as well.
Nora jumps in, not going to commit Tsunami Slam since that is going to be Vivian right there. Their attempted ambush on Vival did not work as well. I could see the really good presence of mind to check the bush with Quad Shadow first. And now Lord is going to be pushing in mid lane. 11 minutes in, it's a 9k goal lead. Federer comes out first. AOG forces the cancel straight away. Vivian is inside the base, still tanking up with the Revitalize. And Indonesia is full diving the towers. Tsunami Slam not able to do anything. Nora has to flicker away. The tower just goes down. And Indonesia, their advent cannot be stopped. They are steamrolling their way into the base of Team Turkey. But they've run out of minions. The Lord will eventually fall. They'll go for another tower down bottom. Indonesia, this is where they made the mistake previously. Do they still want to force the engage?
Oh, but Kujo also trying to make sure that Team Indonesia does not go in. They try to go in for out Nora. Federer at the open.
Looks like they'll be able to get away from that one, but Indonesia hasn't given up just yet. They want one more tower. The final inhibitor standing for Team Turkey. Ogi Shadow kill once again. Not going to be used this time, actually. Ival just zoning, and now the base of Team Turkey is completely empty.
Empty. Open for the side of Indonesia to end it all off if they can do it with this second lot. First lot was doing well just to break the whole entire inhibitor turrets. And even so, we do need to give a little bit of credit for Turkey because the defense-wise coming up from them was just great, but just still not enough for them to make sure that Team Indonesia doesn't fall down all of the turrets that is already in their baseline. The question is, can Turkey make something right here?
This is a fairly snowball-heavy meta, and as we can see, Turkey is super far behind in terms of farm. It's already a 10k gold lead, and their late game scaling is nowhere close to coming online. This could already be a GG situation.
Turkey losing much of their momentum from the first game itself. And looking from how they were trying to actually control the positioning, and I know for a fact that we were hoping for Nora. Nora keep on trying to actually initiate, get the wave breaker. Tsunami Slam try to actually steal away Team Indonesia into the hands to make sure that they have a really good team fight. Ended up, the favor comes in for Team Indonesia to just negate every single positioning. That's the Purify comes in from Shell itself, because no matter how much they try to steal away anyone from the Team of Indonesia, they will definitely neutralize it immediately now. This is going to be the second launch.
Yeah, that's the experience of this team showing itself. See the conceal just opening up the area around the river so quickly, and then instantly transition. To basically free a Lord for Vival.
And the fact that, again, this is going to be maybe the last march that will be done by Team Indonesia if Team Turkey does not pull out every single stunt they have under their sleeve. To guard out that crystal. So far, they are sticking up for themselves right here inside the grass, because I knew for a fact that maybe there's a possibility they might be able to do a surprise attack. But again, look at how Vivian, she's just opening every single grass, every single moment to make sure that Team Turkey cannot do a surprise attack.
Team Turkey cannot let this Lord collide, but the flicker forward, land shaker forward. Forces the flicker of Mieko, still not able to escape, goes down! The Granger's already out of the equation, the Lord is dropping low with Crystals exposed, then he's godlike, and still diving all the way through! It's a triple kill, a maniac for Cine! And that marks the victory of Team Indonesia!